Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I definitely felt a difference the day after she did what she did a week ago. We're going to explain that if you missed it. And this whole energy clearing, chakra balancing, the meditation that's involved can really set you on a very positive path in your life. She is Wanita Fleury, and she's the owner of Lotus Lily Chakra Balancing and more. And she's back with us. Welcome. How you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Now, what we did last week was just a mini sample, but what would you call that?
It was a little guided meditation to go in and clear. I don't remember because I never get to remember because I'm channeling it, what area that we focused on. But it's just a little journey, a little meditation to go in and cleanse and clear out whatever chakra system of the seven major ones that we work with, to bring more balance in your life.
So you did mention my throat chakra needed some help.
Right? Okay.
I identified, I've been told that I have issues with my third eye. So you looked at that a little bit. And I think you cleared that out further.
Mhm.
Um, I had something major come up the following day that was planned, but a situation that could be stressful. Um, I don't know if it's what you did or what, but I will tell you this, that I was very calm and grounded walking into it, where I just had a feeling of just peace. Like it's going to work out. It's all going to be okay. And it worked out. You know, there's other things that need to get taken care of, but um, I want to say it came from what you did because I normally would be apprehensive about it, and I was just like, yeah, no problem, got
You work
this.
on your solar plexus too, a little bit, I do recall. And that's your power center, your confidence, your, boundaries and whatnots in that with your throat, expressing your truth. Okay, it's coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
All of those things, when you put them in balance, clear them out, life becomes so much easier if you're in awareness of the idea of, I'm not going to call it back in. I just got rid of all of that stuff. I'm going to use this opportunity to expand on it versus let it set up more barriers. I'm going to expand.
And you're right, the solar plexus was one that came up. Um, I really felt when you were doing it, we were calling in the light from above and the feet to the ground. I'm honestly going to tell you that I saw the visualization of the light coming down, and I felt like my feet were firmly planted and were grounded. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I was seeing that light and it felt good.
Well, that's one thing I tell every one of my clients and anybody who wants to talk to me: ground, connect, and protect yourself every single day. And protecting yourself, you can put this, spear around you, but really it comes from your heart. If you're in that love frequency, you expand out, then nothing can get to you if you're in the love frequency, because there's nothing more powerful than love. But people think, I don't want to say that if you're in the love frequency all the time that you're golden, because we may think we're in the love frequency, but really we're kind of in the fear frequency, but we're trying to say we're in the love frequency. So I always
Hmm.
add blue spear protection around as well.
How do you know if you attain that love frequency, that level?
You have to practice it, because a lot of times an example, I had a client that believed he was truly doing something out of love, but it had to do with his kids and their student loans and whatnot. And what he said was, I don't want my credit to get bad, so I just paid them off, because he had left his children to pay their student loans. He wasn't sure that they were going through some troubled times. So his intent was love, to take care of them. But the underlining energy was fear of his credit score going down, because it's attached to their behavior. Something like that, you have to be aware. Ooh, am I doing it truly from a space of love, or is there some type of fear? So you have to dissect that within yourself.
Wow, that's a fine line.
It's a very fine line, because a lot of times we think we're doing something out of love, but are we?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. You could even go hypothetical and think you have, let's say, two people married, and you
Mhm.
have somebody who does a lot for their spouse, which is great. Let's say they buy them things, got them a certain house, renovated it, whatever. And in their mind, it's kind of, that's how I show my love. That's my love, acts of, and then there's love languages. One of them is, acts of service and things like that. Um, but that also could be fear because they could be wanting to do those things to keep that person around, keep them happy. But it's not, it is coming from love, but it's also coming from fear.
It's coming from fear. And I work with a lot of people that have, I really want to get away from that word trauma, but sexual abuse energy. And I say to some of them, I'm like, how much of this is self-inflicted? When I say self-inflicted, a lot of people, especially women, because they express love through touch and emotion, that they may be intimate with someone because out of fear of losing them. And that's a sexual trauma to the self. So there's a fear, so they give up of something to with the hopes to receive more love. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. And I never thought of it that way. The things that we do are really not 100% love. Um, Kind of makes you think.
It does. And that's the whole idea, is to have you pause and just step into that space of being present and being aware of, why am I truly doing this? Is it doing it out of love of myself or out of fear of the outside around me? And then the big word is control. Are you trying to control your situation and call it love, but control is a fear of losing or not being able to keep things in a certain way?
How can you pivot from those places of fear, control, whatever it might be, to just love?
Well, it takes lots of practice, and it takes a lot of being in awareness, and it's a lot of responsibility. The word responsibility is the ability to respond to your behavior, because you can't choose or make anybody do anything. It's the only thing you can do is work on yourself. A lot of times, well, they'll change for me. Well, if they choose to, but you are not going to change them. Look at what you're doing and ask yourself, how am I creating this atmosphere, this energy? I did have a client once that her husband hung out with the boys a little bit too much, and he was not in the best condition the next day. And she got very angry at him. And what she did was shame him. And when she shamed him, why, if somebody shames you into changing, would you change? You're going to repeat that pattern. So I said to her, did shaming, which is a form of manipulation,
Mm.
get you what you wanted from him? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do differently to get him to react differently? Because it's about you. It's not about what you can do to make the other person do anything. So it's a
Mm.
lot of self-reflection. What words am I using? What am I manipulating? That manipulation energy, word energy, it's so powerful. So yeah.
I think we forget how powerful words are, not just to others, even to ourselves. And I remember there was a song that came out, don't laugh, but it was by Cher. If I Could Turn Back Time, came out in the, in the late
Oh
80s.
yeah.
And there's one line I never forgotten that song. Words are like weapons.
They are.
They are.
Well, but remember that little, what was that? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but
Mm.
words will never hurt me. What a lie. Words are so powerful, especially the ones how we treat ourselves. How badly do you talk to yourself? How mean are you to yourself? And, I used to um, ask people, would you speak to your grandmother like that? Um,
Mm.
and
Would you speak to anybody that you love like that? Because you're supposed to love yourself. So would you ever say those things that you say looking in the mirror first thing in the morning? Look at that. Just look at that. Would you say to somebody that you love, you look horrible today. Look at what you got. Like a zit right over there. What's going on? Look like you gained weight. You look horrible. Well, you would never do that.
Right. And that's one of the really big things about doing all this work is you have to be kind to you. And I ask clients to give me 5 characteristics of love so that when they give me those characteristics, then I say, okay, a lot of times respect is one. Are you respecting yourself? Because I'll ask, do you love yourself? And a lot of times they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, say it. And they say, I love myself. I'm like, how did that feel? And money, you say, well, it felt weird. It didn't feel comfortable. So what behaviors are you doing? What characteristics of love are you not doing for you? You know, when you're in a relationship with somebody that might not be treating you well. So you ask yourself the question, am I respecting myself being in this relationship? And if the answer is no, then you have to take action to make a change. Um, does this person communicate? No. Then what, is that a form of respect for me? Am I committed to working out? Well, if I say I'm going to go and I don't go, well, is that me not loving me? So there's a little ways to kind of key into, are you loving you? Are you speaking kindly to yourself?
Hmm. Kind of does make you think. Yeah. And what we said or identified in that love is the highest frequency. It doesn't get any better than that. That's what I got from you. That's where you want to be, in that place of just love. When it's
That
there, everything is good.
when it's there, everything is all right. Nothing bothers you. But that's a programming that is very, it's not, it is difficult, time consuming, because you have to be on all the time and being in that space of going, oops, I
Mm.
did it again. Woohoo, lesson. I learned that I just was mean to myself not to do it again. Or be in awareness of that's, I've been treating myself like that. So I have to reword that. And I'm constantly taught when I'm talking, going, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I need to reword this because I need to ask what it is I claim in my life or choose in my life or whomever I'm talking to reword it so that it's all in the positive and in the present. And that takes a lot of commitment, which for me, commitment was a definite one of the characteristics of love. Takes a lot of commitment to pause and even say to the person in front of you, wait a minute, I need to reword that. That takes the ego out of the way because you're admitting that you said something incorrectly. Now I need to rethink about it. Some people would never in a million years want to admit that they were wrong or doing something incorrectly in front of other people. Who cares?
Mm.
This is about me. This is me loving me. Me loving me and pausing and responding in a different way. That's healthy. Your impressions of me really don't matter because this is my journey and I'm on it alone. Well, do I want you to, look at me and say, oh, good job. But if they don't, then that's theirs to figure out why it's bothered them.
How do you come up with a language? We all have challenges. People may get under our skin, or people may not support us. And it could be relatives. It could be even your kids. You do everything for your kids, and you get to a point where they're not, they don't treat you with respect. I'm just going hypothetical. You pick anybody. Now, we could sit and look at that and say, the blank with them, whoever these people are, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing anything more for them. It's about me. I need to take care of me, things like that. How do you change that language so it's in a more positive frame for yourself? Essentially, we're putting up boundaries, boundaries around. And again, we could take it from the aspect of insert certain words that aren't positive to describe it, even to others. What's a more positive way, more loving way to say things like that to ourselves?
Let it go. It's not my journey. Letting it go because that's their journey. I can be an observer of their journey. I don't have to be attached to it. That's the hard part, is to detach from the outcome, because that's control. That's a big one. Control, control, control.
Hmm.
But it's, especially with, your kids, I detached from mine. I love my kids. We have a great relationship, but
Sure.
detaching from their outcome, because they have choices and it is their choice. Even when they're little, it's their choice. They might go left and they should have went right. Okay, they fell down, they hurt themselves. All right, learn to go left next time. So you're in that supportive, not supporting role. And sometimes the word detachment doesn't have to be a dirty word of, oh no, we're not connected. Well, I don't want, change my words. I choose not to have connections or attachments. I can have a connection, but not an attachment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're connected to whoever it is. Could be your children, could be a cousin, could be, whoever.
Coworker, whatever.
Yeah, you're connected, but you're detached from whatever their outcome is, so that and so many of us, whether we want to admit it or not, are empathic and we pick up on things, and the outcomes of other situations pull us down, weigh us down. Um, when we say detach, is it the same thing as cutting the cord?
Well, cutting cords, like anything that you cut, it can always grow back. So you detach from it. So usually use whatever comes up for the person, like could come up as bubbles. So pop a bubble, boom, you've detached. It could be a fish hook, let it go. Could be a rock, you throw it over the cliff. Whatever, image comes up for you in a session, or you can do that on your own, but you detach from the root. You don't just cut it. Because again, it's still there. You've
Hmm.
illusion that you're not attached. You've cut it, but you take a plant or a tree and you chop the tree down, it's going to grow, little roots are going to grow everywhere. So why do we keep the roots? And I say, pull it out by the roots, get it gone completely.
Is
Um,
that detachment?
mhm.
That's how we would describe that, where we're fully disconnecting, if you will.
Fully getting it out of our body. So my kids' energy, for example, I carried their stuff and I had them carry my stuff. So I took my stuff back from them and then I took their stuff and I'm like, here, not mine, you have it. So I don't carry any of their stuff, and it is very difficult, I'm not gonna lie, to keep it from reattaching or trying to reattach it, but I have to remember it's not my journey. So let go of the control. When you can, boy, that word is so annoying. Control. Because every time I turn around, it's like, "Ooh, that's control. Ooh, that's control. Ooh, that's control." And
Hmm.
that's a program of the illusion of being in control. We spend a lot of energy trying to be in control, and we're not.
We're not. Yeah, it feels like we are sometimes, but it's not. Is it is it acceptable to say, I don't care anymore? That's your situation. It's not mine. It sounds harsh. I don't know if that's the right wording. We're still connected, but in my mind, I don't care what happens there. That's you're making the choices, not me.
What would you use besides saying, "I don't care"?
That would be the most intuitive one to say. And when you're in challenging situations and you don't want to deal with other people, it sounds good to say it. I don't care anymore. I'm pushing you off. Um, I choose not to be connected in that way.
What do you choose to do?
I choose not to care.
Yeah, choose to let it go. Choose to be free. Choose to be an observer of your journey, not a participant. Trying to not use negatives. That's so hard.
I know.
I just
Yeah.
said not to be. I'm like, oh, I did it again. So it's really taking the time to, how would you word it? Because if you are truly tired of somebody's crap and would rather it not be a part of you anymore, that's what you're choosing, is to release other people's energy and let them be on their journey in a supportive, not supporting role. So, it's difficult, but you
Yeah,
gotta find the right wording that feels right for you.
sure. And again, it doesn't mean in these situations that you're completely abolishing somebody from your life. It's just you're still connected, but their choices are theirs, their outcomes are theirs. You choose not to be part of that because for obvious reasons, it may be hurtful to you, whatever, emotionally or even physically.
And sometimes people will get upset about it and be mad at you for letting go. And that's because you're changing and that rocks their world by you saying, you do you. I'm not going to be that, controlling person, even though,
Mm,
you realize you were. But now they have to take responsibility for their actions. And they weren't aware. They may have been complaining, oh, you're controlling, blah, blah, blah. You're this, you're that. But when you give it the responsibility back to them, they may resist and get angry with you for giving them the ability to respond to their own behavior. And that's where sometimes people become no longer associating with each other because you changed and the other person didn't want you to. You chose to let go of their outcome and they may like it. Gives them a sense of security that you're going to always catch them if they fall.
right, right. That's that's it, especially when it comes to your kids. That's a tough one there.
Oh, it's so hard, especially the younger they are. But again, we have created a system of children that do not know how to fail. So they don't know how to pick themselves up and succeed on their own. We've created and I speak this from experience. No, 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 let me fix it. Well beyond the helicopter, bulldozer parents of get everything out of their way so that they can succeed instead of let it let them struggle where they have the love and support of you
Right.
versus when they get older.
Yeah. Crystal clear. It's and I think a lot of parents today do that because their lives may have not been, their childhood was okay, maybe it wasn't fantastic, and you want to give those things that you didn't have. So you overcompensate by enabling your kid, and they don't have the skills to deal because life was too easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fine line and it's difficult for a parent to watch your kids fail. But man, oh man, I had some relatives that tough love was the way they did it. And I kind of was that when I was principaling too. And had a lot of students that after say thank you for loving me and caring about me enough to let me fail so I could learn the struggle of success.
Well, to your point, there's a lot of situations where trophies are given just for participation. Showing up doesn't mean you get an award.
No, and that, we're kind of going off topic, but that does create a whole when they show up to the workplace, it creates a lot of problems
Yeah.
because they don't know how to take criticism, constructive criticism. It's very hurtful. So, you want a team of people who are going to succeed, even if it means bumping their knee and falling down, but they need to know how to get back up, not quit because they fell down.
Gotcha. Uh, we went in a different direction there toward the end. I didn't realize your education background, so impactful there as well. Uh, hey, if somebody wants to change their energy, look at this thing called meditation. By the way, that was a great meditation we did last week. I didn't even think of it in terms of a meditation. For me, it was more of changing energy, but I see that can be done through meditation. How do we connect with you?
You can connect with me at lotuslilychakra.com. Just reach out, send me a message, and I will be happy to get back to you.
Wanita, great talking with you. We kind of didn't know how today was going to go and what direction we were going in.
It never really works. I can say one thing and the universe will take us someplace else.
Well, and that's a great thing. And I think it took us in a place where there's some understanding of how we do or why we do what we do and how to change that as well, just with changing first of all, changing the language that you use. So appreciate that and look forward next time we get together.
All right. I'll see you.
Thank
Bye.
you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.